Welcome to the Sandler Sales and Sales Leadership Thought of the Day. I want to talk a little bit about networking today. Probably a few of us in sales have some networking events coming up. Maybe you're looking forward to them, maybe you're not. I want you to think about the last event that you went to. Do you remember anybody from that? Any strangers, anybody that you had never met before? Was anybody memorable? If so, what made them memorable? The problem with a lot of networking events that we go to is we don't meet enough people, we don't meet enough of the right people, and we're not memorable. I recently was watching an episode of Wheel of Fortune, and maybe you saw it. There was a gentleman at the start of every Wheel of Fortune. They spin the wheel, but before that they asked them for a little introduction. And they asked about their family. And this gentleman started off with a really what we call pattern interrupt. He said, "Yeah, I'm married to an old battle axe. I've been in a loveless marriage, and she's burdened me with 2 stepkids." Now, none of that was true. But he was memorable. In fact, he was so memorable that video's gone viral, and now he's everywhere. And just because of doing something different and making a little fun at the start of the Wheel of Fortune. When we go to a networking event, we call that a pattern interrupt. If somebody is out there and says, "Hey, what do you do?" and you just say, "Hey, I work with ABC Widget Company," that's not very memorable. But if you say or do something that kind of breaks the pattern. So if somebody says, "Hey, Chad, what do you do?" I could say, "Hey, well, we do a lot of sales training." Not that memorable. Or I could say, great question. We kind of call ourselves revenue generation mechanics. Now people might go, "Well, what the hell is that?" Which is exactly what I want them to do. It's different, right? It's not part of the pattern. And then I get into launch into what I call my 30-second commercial. And then my 30-second commercial isn't telling people how great I am or how wonderful I am. It's just talking about problems I solve for other companies. And so if I'm going to use the revenue generation mechanic pattern interrupt, I might say, we meet a lot of businesses out there that, they got some horsepower under the hood, they got a good sales team, but it's just not running right. It's missing, right? They have their prospects aren't coming in like they used to, and they're trying to figure out how to fix that. Some other companies, man, they need a whole engine overhaul. Everything's kind of falling apart. There's pieces everywhere. They have no consistent processes. They have nothing going on underneath that hood, and they really need a jump start from us. I don't suppose any of that would be important for us to talk about. So all I did was give a little 30-second commercial about problems I solve, followed by a question at the end which said, "I don't suppose any of that would be worth talking about." That gives people the chance to say no, and we can continue on with a conversation. Or they might say, "Yeah, absolutely." And now we have an opportunity to talk a little further, perhaps at another time, about some problems that we solve. So if you got a networking event coming up, number 1, have a plan and have a goal. Meet people. Number 2, be memorable. Have a pattern interrupt, some way to get people thinking about you and remembering you. And number 3, have a great 30-second commercial about problems you solve for people, not about how great you are. Do that, and I guarantee you'll have more productive conversations. If that sounds interesting to you, feel free to come out, crash a class. We'd love to have you as a guest. We also have some webinars coming up. If you want to get online, go on our website. You can register for those as well.